Hi, this is Gordon Duff. I'm senior editor of Veterans Today. Within 1 hour after the mysterious explosion in Beirut, I received a contact from a senior retired defense official in Lebanon, a general, who told me that they had proof they had been attacked by Israel, that a warehouse had been hit by a sea-based small missile. A fire had been started, and then a larger missile, they believed from an F-16, had hit the warehouse using a tactical nuclear weapon. I was then sent a video. The video, we identified frames within, and we located what appeared to be a missile coming in, and this was in daylight. We identified this as a guided missile. We did post-processing examination of the video and found that there was no alteration of the video, that the pixel mapping on the missile itself was perfect. Using this and then a series of additional videos that have come in from all over Lebanon, because apparently the time between the first fire and the second fire was some period of time. A number of people took videos, including 2 infrared videos. Those went through processing and examination here, and we were able to isolate very clear images of what looked to be a 30-plus foot Israeli surface-to-surface missile. In the process, while investigating this and writing on this, and this was an article that went viral on VT that had around 300,000 readers, and that on a website that is banned on Facebook and Google, turning those numbers is very unusual. In subsequent investigative articles, including one submitted from the government of Italy, where our videos were looked at, where they received their own videos and their own intelligence, they were able to ascertain that a tactical nuclear weapon was used, and thus it was the opinion of the government of Italy that Lebanon had been attacked. I submitted our evidence to Jeff Smith, an investigator from the International Atomic Energy Agency. Jeff reviewed the video. He's a nuclear inspector and a former nuclear weapons designer for the U.S. Department of Energy. He's a particle physicist from the University of California. And he indicated that this was a nuclear explosion that had occurred, estimating it at around 6 kilotons. He then contacted a radiation monitoring organization that works with the IAEA and talked to the people at their facility in Sicily. They sent a report that showed a massive spike in radiation at the exact time of the explosion from the eastern Mediterranean, which they called a fission event, either a nuclear power plant explosion or the explosion of a fission device nuclear weapon. They sent us their data. We published their data. That data would be considered inexorable. In the interim, we contacted the government of Lebanon and were asked to submit information to them. And we know that they contacted the French government and asked for surveillance information on a possible missile launch. Our story was reviewed by people in the United States Pentagon, the generals from the Pentagon that reviewed the story and then reviewed American intelligence in the region, contacted the President of the United States. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, announced to the public that Lebanon had been attacked using a bomb or weapon of other kind. Based on his information, he was then attacked in the press rather wildly And then he again reiterated that the Pentagon had told him that this was an attack on Lebanon using some kind of device. I believe that would be considered classified if it were a nuclear weapon. In the interim, there has been a tremendous reaction in Facebook and Google banning any mention of these weapons being used, of Israel. Across the internet, there have been threats, death threats against anyone who has carried this story forward. While this has gone on, we were contacted by a political figure out of Lebanon with direct knowledge of the case, and I'll tell you why I mean this was the case. And he came to us with a highly detailed story. He told us that 6 years ago, Israeli intelligence, working with other assets, bought a small leaky ship in Cyprus, aided by a Russian group, not part of the Russian government. They loaded this ship with what they made to appear to be ammonium nitrate, but was in actuality dirt and rocks. Brought this ship in to Lebanon. It was leaking and sinking with purchased with a phony letter of credit, with phony SGS inspection documents, and was temporarily unloaded there while a court case carried on. They have since maintained this fake cargo at that warehouse for 6 years. We have the details on the court case. We have the details on the letter of credit. We have the details on the phony Russian client. We have the details on the seller of the ammonium nitrate, who was first in Romania, Moldova, and then in the Republic of Georgia, where no such facility exists that produces these products. These were changed 3 times. We're investigating this as part of what appears to be a broad multi-year scheme by the state of Israel, who was planning an attack on the infrastructure of Lebanon. In this case, the attack on this port would virtually starve the Lebanese people. Destroys a massive amount of food, destroys the ability to import and export food for, it'll be many months now, without great difficulty. And of course, one of the things that made us suspicious is that Benny Gantz, Israel's defense minister, announced 5 days in advance that he was planning on staging an attack on a significant Beirut-based infrastructure facility in Lebanon. 5 days later, we have an explosion of ammonium nitrate fertilizer with the problem. The crater for this explosion is approximately 500 feet across and has been measured at 21 feet deep. To duplicate that with ammonium nitrate would require a slurry with ammonium nitrate and a hydrocarbon fuel such as mazout, M100, or kerosene, thousands of gallons, which did not exist, and that explosion would not have been possible without being boosted by a hydrocarbon, which was not there. We could talk about colored smoke, other things which could not be related to ammonium nitrate either, but there was no explosive mix. Ammonium nitrate on its own is a very weak explosive and wouldn't have gone in 21 feet of rock. But we were told by experts from the IAEA and from the Italian government that to duplicate this with an ammonium nitrate slurry would have taken 12,000 tons, which did not exist. Nor is there a clear set of proofs that millions of dollars of high-grade fertilizer or dangerous explosive, either one, has sat in a warehouse for 6 years. something virtually impossible in a nation like Lebanon. We are advocating, of course, that investigations that have been announced are carried forward, and that it also be noted that the amount of press censorship, the blocking of videos, the claims, wild claims being made that everyone in Lebanon is suddenly making fake videos showing exactly the same type of missile coming from every imaginable direction. That everyone did this at the exact same time as some sort of out-of-body experience. We'd like to see that be investigated as well, because these efforts are a cover-up and they are tied to a massive act of terrorism, a war crime. And everyone involved, including Google, Facebook, and others, news organizations that should know better, need to be held to account.